We spend a lot of time here on the Business Breakthrough podcast speaking with small business owners, industry experts, and business advisors from the Small Business Development Center. But one area we haven't dove into yet is the world of the inventor. Today, we change that as we're thrilled to have on the founder of the National Inventors Club, a man with 15 patents to his own name and someone who has earned the title Inventor Coach during his 18 years of guiding fellow inventors with personalized coaching. Brian Fried. He is an author, an innovator, and speaker with inventions sold at major international retailers, listed in numerous catalogs, and carried on QVC for multiple years. Brian's latest and perhaps most intriguing venture launched in October 2023 when he released the Inventor Smart Community app, designed to offer community for inventors to connect, share ideas, and access valuable resources. This app is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. So we're definitely going to be spending a bit of time talking about that app today and what it has to offer. But without further ado, let's welcome the man himself, Brian Fried.
Thank you very much, Matthew. I've been a big advocate of the Small Business Development Center, the Small Business Administration, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
That's great. If there's anything in your history that I didn't quite grab or articulate well enough, I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of give everyone a little bit of a deep dive into your background and how you came to be where you are today.
Thank you. Well, like you mentioned, I have 15 issued patents. I have several more that are pending. And I come up with ideas most of the time by things that just annoy me, or I see somebody doing something that might be done a little bit differently, but a lot of things that I do that I want to come up with a better solution for. And as I continued on my journey of coming up with ideas, I kept running into different people that had an idea. So I created the Long Island Inventors and Entrepreneurs Clubs for both counties, and then I merged them and worked together with the Small Business Development Center through the Farmingdale State College. And then when COVID happened, some good things came from it, and National Inventor Club came, and going strong, have high-profile guests on there, resources for inventors and entrepreneurs and startups, and just have 3 authored books. My latest one is How to Make Money with Your Invention Idea.
Beautiful. Yep. Right here.
And also host a TV show called Got Invention Show. And like you mentioned, in October of 23, I launched the Inventor Smart Community. So it's our very own social media, resources, networking, events, all kinds of things are streaming on there. We have book clubs and Q&A sessions and a lot of activity. And I'm really proud of all the activity. But for me as an inventor, with these patents, I've actually commercialized many of them. So they've been in major retail stores on QVC, and I've licensed to earn royalties, which I know a lot of people hear about that. So I earn royalties when they sell. And then on the other side, I also manufacture locally and overseas. So I get to do the same thing and help other inventors from the idea in their head to maybe they're looking at that fork in the road, what direction to commercialize their ideas.
I love it. I love it that you're so well versed in like the multiple different ways that inventors can go with their inventions. It's not a clear cut, this is the way that you do it. You have this idea, you go here and then you manufacture and you sell or you license. There's just so many different ways to go about it to get your product to market.
Everybody's different. You could be a doctor, lawyer, unemployed, senior citizen, student. At some point or another, somebody's coming up with an idea. Yeah. The idea is something different, unique. It could be a doctor that's coming up with a kitchen gadget. It could be somebody who's a lawyer that's coming up with a medical device. It's interesting. I get a chance to meet many different people, but that's what I do is I kind of digest and dissect what it is that you come up with, who you are, and help you to make better decisions on what you should do or maybe what you shouldn't do. And that happens a lot of times, Matthew, is that when I talk to somebody and they're showing me something, a lot of times I'll find the same exact thing that they're coming up with. And I just kind of help them to realize that maybe they should stop. It's something that they aren't able to call their own. And it's okay. If you're in that zone of coming up with an idea, you'll come up with another one.
Right. No, that's beautiful. It's such an important aspect when you think about like the process, like the inventor's process and the researching phase. And I definitely want to dive deep into that, because that's just like you said, it's so important. And if you're not doing the research and then you're trying to push forward with this new groundbreaking pen that, also does backflips or whatever, and then you realize that there's already one with the spring that's already doing it, but you didn't know until you went to manufacture. It's, cart before the horse kind of situation.
It's tough. It really is tough, because a lot of people, they get excited. It's an emotional feeling that you just came up with this amazing idea. Maybe it's going to change your life. Maybe it's something where you want that patent on the wall. Everybody has different intentions of doing something with their idea. But if you're working from a perspective of emotion, then you're going to make those type of decisions. Or are you going into business? And that's what you offer here, is to talk about the business perspective of whether it's startup business, entrepreneur, inventor.
It's a beautiful segue to a question that I've been dying to ask you. So I think we kind of covered it already, but the question I had built out was, what is an inventor? And more importantly, how are they different and similar to an entrepreneur?
Well, think about it, Matthew, right? You're in bed, you wake up in the morning, right? There's something that woke you up. Then you're going to the bathroom. Maybe there's things that are going on in there that you're using. You're brushing your teeth, your hair, your contacts, your glasses. Then you're making your way to the dressing room, right? Your closet. You're going into the kitchen. You're making things. You're having breakfast. Maybe you're skipping that and you're going right to your car or public transportation. Like, I'm just putting you through. And then you're in your office. You're watching TV at night. There's so many things. Even if you're working from home, if you're out and about, there's things that are going around you every single day. And it's the people that say, this is something that I think I have something that I could do it differently. Maybe it's taking me 5 steps to do, and I can do it in 2 steps. Sounds like the name that tune in 5 steps or 2 steps. Right?
Exactly.
But no, that's what it is. Are you making your life and thinking about making other people's lives easier? Are you coming up with a big enough solution, or is it a big enough problem? And these are the things that you have to kind of think about. And even when you're starting a business, you came up with an idea. So, Matthew, what's going to make you different than every other business that's out there? Are you just another one in a region? Are you doing something different? Is your process different? Are you marketing differently? So these are the things that I think about. And when you come up with the idea, yeah, you're an inventor. But now what are you going to do with that idea? So you're either going to continue on the path of being an inventor to commercialize it, whether it's licensing or manufacturing and turning into an entrepreneur, or are you going to start a service business? So we're talking products, services. It's all the same. You come up with an idea and you turn it into a business.
I love it. I love just the idea of when we get to brass tacks of like coming up with ideas and what an inventor is. It's like an acute observer of the world and like paying close attention to the details of their day and not just accepting problems. I'll give you a really great, I don't know if it's great, example of myself and how I am not naturally inclined to be an inventor, because I'm the person that runs into a problem and I'm like, well, that's just the obstacle that's in the way, and I'm just going to walk around that obstacle. I moved into a very not high-end apartment in Georgia many years ago, and I remember I went to go do dishes for the first time, and I took out the side sprayer and just spray off some of the dishes and the soap and everything, and it had like 3 or 4 inches of give on it, and I was like, oh, makes sense. Trash apartment, trash neighborhood, like it is what it is. This is what I get. It took me 7 months to figure out that the hose was just wrapped around the water control table underneath the cabinet. All I had to do is go and look under. There was no problem. It just had to move it up above it. And so like an inventor is a person that would see that problem like, oh, I wonder like what is the solution that we could do for this? And obviously not that particular case, but with all these things. And the idea, I love that you brought up the remote work side of things, because when that happened, it was a whole new experience. Like, yeah, Zoom existed, people were doing it, but it wasn't a real full-time thing. And now it's a part of our existence that's never really going away. And so there's so many different aspects of like, how do you optimize working from home? What kind of gadgets or devices or even software can I create that will help to take that 10-step process and reduce it down, or 5-step to 2-step?
One of my favorite words these days to use is intuition, or being intuitive. right? I said that a little funny, but intuitive.
Yeah.
Thinking about the way that things should be or what could be. And that's the difference with us, is that we're the ones that stop and capture that idea. Because then if you don't, then you're a woulda, coulda, shoulda 20 years later going, that was my idea. And
you hear it all the time.
It's gone.
It's gone in an
So
instant.
it's been fun. I have a couple products here just to show you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
Please.
my mind
I'm actually
was.
curious.
Yeah.
Do you have, by chance, your first invention here?
I have one of my first inventions. My first invention I want to forget about because that was the one that I learned a lot of lessons from.
That's good.
That
That's
I get
important.
to share with other people not to do along the way.
Sure.
So look, you can look at it as mistakes or you look at it as challenges or lessons learned.
Yeah.
And you just grow from it. So there was some that were before this one, but
Sure.
this was one of the first ones that I actually brought to life to commercialize. And my daughter's now 22, but when she was younger, we used to go to, let's say, like Madison Square Garden or what was Nassau Coliseum.
Sure.
I can't believe we're saying that now, but you would go there and you would buy a $15 Mylar balloon with Elmo on it.
Right.
And there would be intermission, and that's when they'd sell it. And when the lights went back on, all the balloons were up at the top of the ceiling. So that drove me crazy, and a lot of other parents, very annoying, not only about your balloon, but the kids crying that they lost their balloon. So, and then I went to amusement parks, and you buy a balloon for the kid, you put it on the stroller, you're trying to find different things on and off, on and off. So I came up with something simple, just get my kind of things going in
Sure.
the inventing world. But I came up with this product called the Balloonaband, and it's a nylon wristband that you put around the kid's wrist. And you take the ribbon of the balloon, you wrap it around the metal D ring. And when the kid wants to take it on and off, take it on and off. If the kid drops it, it's a weight, so the balloon doesn't fly away. But you, I know as a daddy, you can put this on your belt buckle. You can put it on the stroller. You can put it on mommy's pocketbook, whatever it is. It's just something that I solved. And my dad was so proud also. He was on the Long Island Railroad for a while, and he made sure to put his ticket on here. So when the conductor came up, he put it up. He just
multi-purpose, and you didn't even know.
Right. Well, that's the fun part. Is like you learn about what people are using your idea for.
Oh, that's
as
great.
You're doing it.
That's so great too, because I remember when my kids were younger and we would get those Mylar balloons, and they would have it, and I knew I let my oldest daughter have it, and she let it go on accident, got distracted by something else, destroyed her. And so from then I'd like lesson learned, and I would always tie it to a belt loop. And but the thing is, then I can't really give it back because those strings, the way that then it's the knot's too tight. You have to cut it. And what do you have to cut with?
Right.
And so this is like, the kid has it, it's strapped to the wrist, and they're like, oh, I want to go play this game. If they're out at like an amusement park or something, I want to go play this game or whatever, throw some rings. Then you're like, all right, just take it off your wrist and I'll throw it on mine, or I'll put it on my belt.
Right.
And
Just something simple.
It's so simple. And yet such an impactful difference for parents, especially.
I put the ribbon around my daughter's wrist and I cut off her circulation. Or it was too loose and my hand is turning red. Is that purple? Is that okay? It's all right. Don't worry about it. It's not gonna fly away this time.
Oh my God, that's great. And that's it. That's a testament to like a lived experience. You went through the process. You identified that this was a problem, and then you took that moment. You pause and you think about, what can we do? How can we solve this?
And then I started to get a little deeper into, that was my daughter younger. Then I started to watch my wife a little bit more in the kitchen.
Okay.
And I started to see things that she was doing a little bit differently, that she was doing that I thought could be done differently, very nicely to say that. But no, I mean, like even something like this, you have bread and you get the little claw plastic tab on, or you have the twist tie, and I didn't know which way to turn it, and it would poke my finger trying to figure it out. So I started to realize that I wasn't the only one that had the problem. Once you take the plastic thing off, you can't put it back on. So I wanted to come up with an idea. I know there were chip clips and different types of things, but I came up with this product called pull ties. And you take any plastic bag, cereal bag, freezer bag, and you put it through the loop, and you push the button, you pull it up, and it seals it tight. So this is fully issued patent. I was on QVC with this for just about 3 years.
Wow.
And even after that, I've licensed it, earned royalties. I manufactured them myself. I picked one of these up at Home Goods the other day.
Wow, your own product off the shelf. Yep.
It's fun. and just being able to, and that's the thing, Matthew. It's like when you see your products on the shelf, like same thing with this one. This one is, you have tongues, like food tongues, and you have the top metal piece that's usually there, and you pull it up to lock it. Yep. But what I did was I came up with grooves that go in this plate, and what happens is now you can take your tongues and make it into small, medium, and large opening. So Matthew, if you were going to buy a set of tongues, right? If you were buying tongues, and this one had an extra feature on it for the same price, which one would you buy?
Oh, it's without a question.
Ding, ding,
yeah,
ding.
yeah.
Just so done.
And so, and it's incredible that you were able to get it for the manufacturer for the same price, and to have an additional feature, but it's not really right.
It's under Farberware Professionals. So every time one of these sells, so Farberware manufactures it, they distribute it, and every time one of them sells, I earn a royalty from it.
And so that's the difference. So you were saying with
the Lifetime brands,
the pole ties.
Yep.
So that is something you had manufactured yourself. You went to your own manufacturer.
Started with that. Yep. And then I licensed it, and
that was different than with that because you went to Farberware. And then you had a conversation with them about that. Is that how that went down?
Yes, it's actually Lifetime Brands, which is in Garden City, Long Island.
Okay.
So I went to, and they have the licensing rights to use Farberware. So what I did was I went to them and I said, I have a patent, a fully issued patent on something that I think would align nicely to your product line, and you would manufacture it, you would distribute it, and I would earn a royalty from it.
Oh, that's
so
incredible.
that's So there's
and
products,
it's a lifetime thing. So it's forever as long as those are sold.
Well, a patent is for 20 years.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. And so utility patents are 20 years. Design patents are 15. But, depending on what kind of relationship and what kind of deals you have, you can still continue to earn royalties. But after a certain amount of time, after the 20 years or 15 years, it becomes public. So anybody can make it.
Okay.
You ever hear of the Snuggie?
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure you have.
Oh, yeah.
Do you wear, you don't use one, do you?
No,
Okay,
my wife got me one of those. It's like the hoodie version of it, where it's like a hoodie but a blanket, and so it goes like all the way down to your calves or whatever. So it's like, but very similar kind of concept.
Well, that's the point, is that the Snuggie was a blanket with sleeves. It still is. So, but it was invented many, many years ago, over 20 years. So that's why you saw many versions of the slanket, and all these other things.
The competitors were able to come out because the patent expired.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll show you one more.
Yeah, please.
This one is fun, and one of my latest ones also. This happened to me during COVID. I came up with this idea. You have this paper towel roll, and it's by the sink or in the bathroom, kids' room, workstation, whatever. Usually when your hands are wet or dirty, you put it on top to pull the sheet off.
Yep.
And I started to realize that it was getting wet and dried up, and I started to ask my friends and family to take pictures of the top of their paper towel roll.
So
it was disgusting. I think I have it in my phone. They're like, Brian, what are you up to? I'm like, just wait, I'll show you. So what I did was I came up with this cap that goes into the inner tube of any paper towel roll. So now when your hands are wet or dirty, you put it on top and it stays clean and dry.
And I can say I am a proud owner of one of those, and I have it on my paper towel roll right now. And I think about it every time I put my hand on top. It's like I see the top of it gets wet and everything, and I can just wipe it off.
Not anymore.
But it's not, right? So it just goes right on the plastic. It's so simple.
So it's selling well on Amazon, on my personal website, paper towel topper.
Brilliant.
And it's just fun. Like, these are not rocket science things that I'm coming up with, but these are things that kind of annoyed me, and I came up with it, and here it is. We get to talk about a couple of inventions and some lessons learned. One night I came home from going out to dinner, and I had leftovers. There was no room left in my fridge, and I was trying to jam the bag, and this carton of eggs was in there. I opened it up, one egg. I was like, this is ridiculous. Took the egg out. I don't know what I did with it, but I threw the carton away. I'm like, this is something that I came up with. It's a collapsible egg tray. So you put your eggs in, and as you take them out, I don't know if you can see it down there, but as you take them out, it goes back and it accommodates only the amount of eggs that you have left. And I called it extra space. So it fits small to jumbo, and it's a space saver, and it's kind of novel.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love these things that you're taking a lot of temporary use items and replacing it with something that you can keep and is even better. So instead of the standard carton that's holding the eggs that it comes with, then you can replace it with this. You never have to get another one. It's good for you forever, and it saves space. And then the same thing with the ties. Like the bread comes with the claw tie that goes on it.
Right.
Half the time it breaks when you take it off.
It's annoying.
You lose it, and then you're just rolling up the plastic, folding it under the bread, and setting it. It's like the story of my life. But now, and so you're replacing with these more permanent things, and so it's, I mean, the ROI on it for people, just like the personal usage ROI and the ease of use and all of that stuff is so obvious that it's like, of course, why would I not get that?
And then there's kind of lessons learned to this one also. So pre-COVID, I guess everybody can be a germaphobe in their own way.
Yeah.
But when I went to parties or I went to places, I noticed people would scoop the pretzels and the chips and jelly beans and nuts, whatever. It was disgusting. So I wanted to kind of replicate like a scooping thing. So what I did was I came up with this kind of ball that opens up. It's like a sphere. And I thought it would look cool to have a face on it. Absolutely. So I went to a company that had housewares storage, and they were in the middle of doing a deal with Sesame Street. So they said, you know what? We see something here. So they licensed it. So I rented the rights to my intellectual property to them, and they also went to Sesame Street and also Nickelodeon with Ninja Turtles. They made these, and it was in major retail stores. Walmart was a huge seller. Every time one of them sells, they have to pay me, and they have to pay Sesame Street or Nickelodeon. These type of things, just something simple. You put your snacks in here, your cereal, whatever, and you can eat from it. Or
scoop it out with that instead of digging your hand in there.
So just fun stuff.
Yeah, and useful, applicable, you know, and they're items that aren't crazy or ridiculous expensive, you know. And so you hit that larger market, like you were talking about, that mass appeal. And
then there's As Seen on TV, which is direct response type of marketing, where I've had several of my other inventions. I'm not going to go into all of them, but yeah, it's fun. And that's the thing, is you're coming up with ideas, and you see a lot of mine are mass. So I have people that come to me and say, Brian, I came up with the most amazing golf ball. It does all these tips and tricks and all kinds of things, and everybody in the world is going to want this golf ball. So it's kind of heavy. A lot of people think that, okay? But when you step out of the golf course, when you're on the golf course, you see everybody's playing golf. When you step out and you ask people if they play golf, do you play golf? Do you play golf? Not everybody plays golf. Right. So what I like to do when you come up with an idea is to figure out what that window of opportunity is. Is this something selfishly for you, or is this something for mass appeal? Or is it for a niche? And that's okay too. It's okay. Right? Sarah's going to have a baby soon. And there's things that are specific for mothers. There's all different types of things that are out there. And you have to find what direction you're going to go. And is it something that, if you're going to put your time, money, energy into, what's the return going to be? Yeah, so understanding kind of the limitations of your market and who it's applicable for is a big deal. So very important. So I love that, because I wanted to go back in and look at kind of the steps that people go through as an inventor. So you kind of walked us through the ideation process. How do you come up with it? You're observing things that are already happening around you. You're solving problems, things like that. And then you talked about research. Research is so important, Matthew. There's so many people that come to me when they're at steps 6, 7, and 8. And they didn't spend the time to do a simple search. And I'm talking about a patent search with a patentability opinion. And usually I like to work with a patent attorney or agent. Okay. Like, you can go into Walmart and go, oh my gosh, my idea, my product is not here. Right. Nobody has it. I'm going to be a gazillionaire. Okay, that's a good start. You could go online and search the first page of Google, or you could search with your eyes closed and say, oh my gosh, nobody has this. I'm going to be a gazillionaire. Right? But it's really important for you to be descriptive. Not just you came up with an interesting name like Extra Space, whatever. Right. Like, you came up with this thing and you have this description of what it is. Put it in Google, right? And then click on images and look to see visually if something is similar. And then take what you find, give it to a patent attorney or agent. Let them compare what you have to what's already existing, not just how it looks, but the claims. If it's a utility patent, if it's design, how it looks, but see if it's something that you can call your own. Because if you're at step 6, 7, and 8, and you didn't do this, then you might be working on somebody else's invention.
Exactly. That's
right?
so smart. Such a good point. Yeah, you really have to. And I love that. It's so the way that you break it down is so practical and just like you can just grab onto it. Like, oh yeah, okay, let's go on to Google and let's describe what I'm looking for and let's see what's already out there. And then you take that to people that are trained professionals on the patent and trademark side to figure out, legally what else is out there.
It's very important.
So yeah,
That's right. Google has patents.google.com. Of course, I highly promote the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Their website is amazing resources on there, and you can use their search tool also, uspto.gov.
Oh, brilliant.
Very important. But take your time at this step because it's things to go all the way there, spend all your time, money, energy, effort, and realize that either it's not something that you can call your own with a patent, or it was somebody else's invention 25 years ago, and you can make it, I can make it, your next door neighbor can make it. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, it's
right?
emotionally counterintuitive because just like you were talking about before with the emotions and that driving you kind of outside of a logical frame of mind, your emotions are, I just came up with this great idea, and now I want to figure out how to get it manufactured. Right. And so you're skipping these steps of research because what you're doing in that research stage is trying to prove yourself wrong, and so it's counter, but it's so important to do that that's what I tell entrepreneurs and small business owners too. Like, and that's one of the first, it's very interesting. I love that you brought up this frame this way because I was taught this from an excellent business advisor who had left here. He works for the SBA now. Troy Diaz, you're the man. And
right.
Yeah, Troy's so great. But he told me how he works with clients when they would first come in, and they would come in and they'd be super excited about their idea. And he knew he had to give them the space to let all of those emotions out and tell them how excited they are and where the idea came from and all of these things. And he's like, yep, tell me. And he's asking questions about it in that way that keeps the excitement going. He's like, and then we get to a place where we're like, okay, we've gone through that excitement, that emotional part of it. Now this is kind of the way I took it from there is, okay, let's do validation. Let's do feasibility and viability. Yep. So like we have this great idea. You're super passionate about it. That's a good thing to have whenever you're going to pursue something like that. But like we have to actually run our checks. We got to run the numbers and see if it's actually going to make sense.
You're starting a business. You're starting a business with your idea.
Yes.
You're taking the time. You want to build something, whether you decide to license it, to manufacture it, whatever it is. But a lot of people come to me and they say, Brian, I want to sell my idea. And the idea's in their head. And some of these initial steps you should do to make sure that as you're continuing to put your effort into finding somebody to buy your idea, that it's yours. So this is a very, very important topic of research and development. And that's what we do as inventors. I suggest it and recommend it, is to do a patent search with a patentability opinion.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. It's exactly what the logical next step would be. So that's great. So, okay, after that we have the inventor. We're walking through this process. They've found their idea. They've done their research and they gave that research over to the professionals. Then what?
Okay. So here we are. We found out that our idea is not patentable. So you can come up with a good trademarkable name, just like the Snuggie we talked about, right. And you can be a creative marketer and sell the same thing as something that's in the public domain already. You can come up with, take a pencil and make it into a unique pencil that you could sell more than any other pencil out there. So you could still continue to bring that to life and start a business. And maybe you want to have 10 other pencils and now you built a brand. Like Bic, yes, or whatever, or that's pens. But I'm just saying, like all these different things. So it's not that you're out when you hit that brick wall. You just need to look around the wall and you'll see another opportunity, right. Like possibly using trademarks. If it's something that is patentable, then okay, great. We have some options. I may want to get a second opinion on that patentability opinion, because before I start putting other money into it and time and energy and effort, I want to just confirm that. I don't mind when they tell me that it's not patentable, because I know that I should move on to my next idea. Or is there a way? Is there a big enough of a difference to be able to get around, to be able to say that I can get some intellectual property protection? But let's say now it's patentable. What do I do next? Well, I want to be able to get that idea out of my head. So what I would do is I would either take things that already exist and rip them apart very politely and non-aggressively, maybe a little aggressive. Sometimes they take a little extra torque there, but I try to get things as close as I can to what I'm thinking. I don't draw very well, so I have either a 3D design, like 3D CAD file done. Maybe it's a cut and sew job. So I'll take my idea to a seamstress, or I'll go to a wood shop and find a way to take what's in my brain and get it out there. But sometimes I need a CAD file done,
Sure.
a 3D version of what my idea looks like, because then I could take it and I could put it into a 3D printer, which is very easy to find these days.
Yes.
And the services out there to be able to visually see what it is that I'm thinking. And
Right.
is it good the way it is and how it looks? Am I going to license this to earn royalties? So maybe they'll take it and they'll tweak it to the way that it conforms to their brand. Or am I going to manufacture it, start my own business, and I'm okay. I have different versions. I'm working with one inventor now. It's great, his idea. Every other day, he tells me about some other change that he wants to make. I'm like, you know what? I think we're up to version 35 now. Let's work on the first one. Let's get it out there, because
Right.
what you've come up with is ingenious. Let's get it to the next steps.
Right.
So yes, that's the way that we think. We're always coming up with new creative ways, but sometimes the basics, because as you're adding Bluetooth and this and that on top of it, you're also driving the cost. And every dollar of putting into manufacturing sometimes can equal $4 or $5 additional, because there's a lot of margin in between that you have to cover of operational expenses and everything else and marketing and all that. So you got to think that way when you're manufacturing. And that's how you make a successful product. Because a lot of times, Matthew, people come to me and they're like, Brian, I'm manufacturing this product and it cost me $2 to make. I'm going to sell it for $3. What do you mean? Well, nobody's going to spend more than $2.99 on it.
Right.
Well, you're putting two in to get one out. It's tough. You know, you're teaching lessons in the Small Business Development Center quite a bit. You know that when you're putting something in, you want to be able to get X out.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
these
and
are the things
accounting
that
for
we,
all of the expenses. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so it's I love the overlap. Like, inventors are intrinsically entrepreneurs, and it's kind of vice versa, depending on what you're doing for a business. One thing I'm really interested in is two kind of parts of this question. How do you figure out, like, where to find manufacturers, and what kind of criteria do you look at when you're speaking with different ones? And this kind of second part of this, trying to plug your app and everything, are there resources on your site, on your app, in the National Inventors Club that people can use that help to answer those types of questions?
well, that's one of the main reasons that I came up with the app. And National Inventor Club is a resource to provide as much information from the people that you want to hear it from. Like just last week, I had actually it was a score presentation, but I also have had the director of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office on, Kathy Vidal. So if you want to hear something about the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, who better than her, right? I've had some great high-profile guests on there. But the point is that that's good for information. And then you want to be able, in between the meetings and social media and everything else, we want to be able to have our own world. So I came up with this app, and people help each other, bring each other to the next level, find referrals in there.
Right.
But for me, doing this for a while, Matthew, is kind of the inventor coach. At this point, I can pretty much make anything. And if you tell me what you want to make, I have industrial designers, prototypers, engineers, medical people, just really any industry.
It really levels the playing field, and it opens up this opportunity for people that may think about the idea. They may have that idea, but they have no idea what to do next. They're like, I have this idea, and it would change this, and it would be so effective. They don't know about researching. They don't know about all of the different kind of networking connections that would benefit them, not necessarily that they need to have going into it, but the fact that this is there and the door is kind of open that says, come join us.
Yeah.
That's so powerful.
I have the smartest people reach out to me. I have celebrities, sports professionals. It could be anybody, Matthew. And it's so interesting, the ideas that people come up with. but they don't know what to do. So are you somebody that stopped and captured that idea and said, you know what, maybe I'll find this guy, Brian, or whatever it is. You know, my goal is to try to get the message out there so people can come to me or my network or my ecosystem that I'm building to be able to get the right information and then help them to make better decisions. That's my goal. Great. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm here today. Yeah. I hope this message, it's not about me. It's about inspiring people who have an idea for a business or a product, that something in this conversation is going to help them to move their idea forward, move their life forward, move their paycheck forward, move their family, wherever they, that's why we do what we do.
And it truly is inspiring. After every time that you and I connect, I walk away, I'm like, I could probably do it. I could probably invent something.
Of course you can. But that's what, you don't, if you try hard to come up with something, it might not be that easy.
Right.
You just got to let it happen. You just got to be a people watcher, got to pick on yourself, got to pick on all your family members. That's why they're all stay away. I drive everyone crazy.
Like, don't let Brian over.
You know? Why are you doing it that way? Why are you doing it that way?
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so the former part of the question, if someone isn't connected and they're wanting to feel out the Inventors Club, but they also want to do some research on manufacturers, what are some warning signs, so things for people to look out for? What are some good signs, some green flags and red flags?
I think it's very important. Look, when you're an inventor, you have this idea, like I said, you have this emotional feeling, and sometimes you're just making decisions based on what people, like whether your idea is great or it sucks, and I tell you it's great, we're going to keep going. But if I tell you that it sucks, you're going to be upset with me.
Right.
So you want to get the right feedback. So there's online polling type of services. Okay. You can ask your friends and family. Some of them are brutally honest, but you can also do your own due diligence and research. But the point that I'm making is that anything that you do, whether it's in this inventing thing in your life, it's always good to get references. I have construction going on in my house right now. I want to see things that you've done. I want to know, and I want things done. So I can make that decision. I'm making a business decision. I'm not making it just because you told me how great and wonderful something is. I want to make a good business decision. So that's what people need to do. You got to take your business cap and put it on tight and know that what you're putting in, because you worked hard for your money, put in to know that you're going to get something in return. So do your research, get references, ask around, check reviews, like do things. And know that, and look, somebody tells you what something is, the cost, you're not obligated to them. Even a patent attorney or agent, you're not obligated to them. Get additional kind of feedback on what, or just compare.
Right.
And then to know who's used their services. If you mentioned also where to find different types of manufacturers. So Alibaba.com, if you want to go overseas, there's Made in India. There's all these different kind of conglomerates of manufacturers. And in the US, there's one that I love to use is called thomasnet.com. And that's, it used to be the old Thomas directory for those who are older,
been around a while.
Been around, right? So, but that's the thing is you can find manufacturers. Some are distributors, so they're salespeople. You want to go to a manufacturer. Those are the type of places that you want to find. You can find a prototyper. There's Shapeways.com is one, for example. If you want to use Fiverr.com and have a freelancer, Upwork, all these different types of freelancing, you help me, I help you. Those are the type of services that you can use, get reasonably priced, help you, help them. And now you have a CAD file, a 3D print that you can put into Shapeways, and there you go. Just like that. So you have the patent search, you have prototype in your hand, and now you can start to keep going along the way. So this type of conversation can help people to get moving along. But,
absolutely.
You know, even before we came in here, you heard me. There's always somebody with an idea.
Yes.
And that's the thing is I want to try to speak to as many people as I can. So hopefully
I can't believe how accessible you are, like to the people that join the club, because it's so big. It's national. It's for the entire United States, and people are getting like a direct line to you and to other people that are in the group where they can get all of these resources. It's a treasure trove that needs to be spread about.
So many people just are stuck and they don't know what to do, where to go, who to trust. And through myself and these resources is where I want to be. Even I even promote Small Business Development Center.
Yeah,
SCORE,
we appreciate it.
Small Business Administration. Like, there's free resources out there too. Why not use them? Get to a certain point, get yourself organized. So many people come to me scattered. I'm doing this, that, this, that. Like, okay, let's get you organized.
Right.
And then what should you do first, second, third, fourth, fifth?
Continuing down kind of the steps in the process. So now we have a prototype. What am I doing with the prototype? And I guess this goes down, like, because you can go multiple different routes with how you want to pursue this.
Yep.
When it comes to manufacturing or if it comes to licensing it out. So I guess maybe walk us through a little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, this isn't a textbook answer.
That's great.
Because every person and product, like I said earlier, is different.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to learn about you. Are you somebody that has time? Do you have a full-time job? Do you have the time and money and resources to do this? Well, resources, it could be time. There's all different types of things that I need to learn about you.
Yeah.
And what is your product? Is it something simple? Is it something you came up with a wind turbine? Is it something that's a kitchen gadget or a novelty item or a household product or a hardware product? You got to kind of match the idea to who it is that you're talking to. Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Is this a side hustle? Do you want to turn this side hustle into a full-time job? Make it into a career? Do you want to build a brand? So this is what I learn from people. And if they're not sure, I help them to understand what that looks like. Or is it, I want to sell my idea? Do I want to get to a point where I have some sort of intellectual property? Because that's most of the time when you're going to a manufacturer, that otherwise known as a licensee. So if I go into Walmart and I came up with a kitchen gadget, I'm going to go to where these kitchen gadgets are, similar to my idea. I'm going to flip over the packages. I'm going to look at them. And those are the companies that are my potential partners. So I'm going to say, my name is Brian. I came up with this idea, and I'm going to go through what we just did. I did a patent search. I made it work with this. I did a prototype. I'm patent pending. I did that provisional patent application. It gave me the right for 1 year to say I'm patent pending while I'm exploring the market. Before the year expires, I'm going to file that non-provisional patent application, and that's for the fully issued 20-year. Or it's a design patent. Is it ornamental? Is it just going to be for 15 years that I can call it my own? Anyway, I went through these steps, and here I am. I'm looking to add my product to your product line. You manufacture it, you distribute it, and I earn a royalty from it. Some of them work out very well, and some of them don't.
Yeah.
You don't really have too much. Every deal is different. But for the most part, you're going to a company that is already in the business. So if you start to give them stats and everything else, they're like, buddy, this is what we do for a living. I appreciate your research, but this is what we do. We're at the buyers tomorrow at Walmart, right? So I think it's important to understand that if you don't give them some sort of intellectual property, then what do they need you for? They could just do it themselves.
Right.
So I think it's important to get to a certain point where you have some sort of IP, intellectual property.
And the thing that's protecting you. I had a client, and he was paralyzed by fear of going to manufacturers with his idea because he thought everyone was just going to steal his ideas and then go make the product on their own. In these conversations, when you're sharing the ideas, the thing that's protecting you is the patent pending.
Yeah. And you can also have a non-disclosure agreement.
That was my recommendation.
You can have a non-disclosure. We can only do the best that we can to protect ourselves.
Right.
If you keep looking back, then it's tough to go forward. So I always do the right thing, the best that I can. If there's somebody behind me that wants to do something, then I'll take action, and I have. And the best that I could do is try to get some sort of intellectual property so I can protect myself if something comes around. But if I don't have any, then anybody could do it.
Yep.
So it's really important. I feel like the intellectual property, the patent, either filed or pending. Some companies require you to have a fully issued patent, a lot of medical companies. Sure. And some of them are okay with, you know what, we'll be first to market. Hopefully you get a patent, we'll still pay you on the royalties. And some will say, I'm not going to pay you until you have an issued patent. So every product is different. Every company you go to is different. Every person is different. It's not just a textbook answer. And that's what I really figure out. So people come to me and say, Brian, how do I find this licensee? I mean, I'm not calling them, so I'll call them. So I act as a licensing agent. At this point, I've pretty much got into every industry and category that exists. I'm working on furniture and bathtubs and riggers for construction and polypectomy devices and simple kitchen gadgets.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. But you get to the players in the industry, those are the ones that do great distribution. Most of the time, they're going to give you less of a royalty because they have tighter margins, but you do more volume. Or do you go to a company that I want 100%, but they'll sell 0, so you'll get 0. You got to find the balance. So sometimes the perception and the expectations of an inventor with how much you're going to receive in royalties, I have to kind of put in line for them to understand what you're not going to be doing. Somebody else is taking the risk and the distribution and sales and overhead and margins and dealing with buyers and everything else that comes along with manufacturing.
Right. At the conclusion of each point that we talk about, I'm like, they just got to join the National Inventors Club. And so with that, I guess I wanted to ask you, so what does that look like? So if someone's listening right now and they're like, I'm going to join, what can they anticipate? One, where do they go? And when they go there, what can they anticipate as far as like the structure and the frequency of meetings and conferences and things like that?
The app is a great place to go. Inventor Smart Community app. It's available on Google Play and Apple App Store. And in there is National Inventor Club. There's all the previous meetings. There's the social media aspect of it with different groups, connecting with people in there, following them, liking their posts. Really great information. And every month we have National Inventor Club meetings. Next week, I don't know when you'll be listening to this audience, but we have Inventors Got Talent. So we have inventors that are going to be presenting their ideas, a 4-minute kind of presentation, who they are, where they're from, what the problem was, what they invented, and where are they now, and what does the future look like for them in 4 minutes.
Oh, that's so and that's great because they have a structure so they understand how to prepare and how to present in like the proper way that they get a really good dry run, so to speak, in-house, but with real feedback from other people that have been through this.
That's right. But everybody's helping each other.
Right.
There's no judgment zone.
That's
right.
Yeah,
as you've heard, right?
So I love that. That's the difference because a lot of people would have the instinct to go like, oh, let's do a Shark Tank. And you're like, no, let's do a Inventors Got Talent. You know, and it's an entirely different feel where you go in that route. And it's like, no, we want to see the talent. We want to see what you guys have got. And we're not here to like, yeah, we're going to not sharpshoot necessarily, not make you feel bad, but we're going to help address issues that are coming up because it's going to benefit you moving forward.
So much support and networking and resources and helping each other. So you have that. Then you have every month, whether we just happen to be doing this Inventors Got Talent, but there's resources for inventors, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Alibaba.com, Thomasnet.com. I've had crowdfunding people. I've had the inventor of the cell phone. I've interviewed John Tesh. For those of you who know John Tesh, he has Intelligence for Your Life. So it was January of 23 or 22. And I said, give my audience a pump up, rah, rah, get us set for the year type of thing. So I've had the top trainer from Tony Robbins. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be patent information. Right. It's your mindset. Yes. It's engineers, prototyping, resources, understanding what you're in for and helping you along the way, helping you to make better decisions. And if it's not you finding the information within, there's other people and there's me.
That's incredible.
And that's why I have my books, my blogs, my TV show, where I get to showcase inventors and their journey.
And where can people watch the show?
A Got Invention show. Again, all these resources, that's why I did this app.
Yeah.
Because everything is in there, all crunched in, and it's easy, it's accessible. You get notifications. There's all kinds of activities. Tomorrow I'm doing a Q&A with the group. We have book clubs that we have where we have an author come on. And
Sarah, could you pull up the app so people can see what the icon looks like when they're going in looking to make sure that they're selecting the right one? I'm sure there's not a lot of competition out there for the name, but I want to at least show what that looks like.
Great. Inventor Smart Community app. You can find it on Google Play, Apple App Store. You can go to inventorsmart.app to get to the landing page, which can bring you to the app directly as well.
Inventors Smart.
Inventor Smart.
Inventor Smart.
Yep. .app.
Sarah was like, I was not anticipating this request right now. Maddie boy.
Oh, there you go.
Look at you.
And then I have my personal website, which I offer people for a brief few minutes to discuss how I can help them.
Wow.
And most of the time they end up in the app.
Incredible. So this is what to look out for when you're going in and checking this out. So many resources waiting for you on the other side. Brian, is there anything else that you wanted to share with the audience before we
Keep an open mind. Be aware of things that are going on around you and stop and capture that idea. You'll be distracted very quickly. Before you get distracted, capture it and see if it's something that you can call your own. And if you can, get involved in this information, the resources that are here, find your own, whatever it is, but take action.
I love it. I used to carry around a notebook, a small notepad with me for ideas for the business, for like different services that I wanted to offer, or even different marketing campaigns. And it's just like everything like that is all the ideas that come into your head are just like a dream. Like you wake up and it's so vivid. And if you don't think about it and grasp it in that moment before you go and grab your morning coffee, it's gone. It's gone. So find the app on your phone where you can take that note, keep a notebook handy, and it becomes natural after you do it for a while. And it's just like, oh yeah, I had the idea.
Becomes a habit.
Yep, absolutely. Great.
Great.
Thank you so much, Brian. This is
Thank
incredible.
you. And thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank you.